Okay, so I just got done watching Jerome Powell on this Bank of International Settlements event, or whatever it is they want to call that they were doing. What's astonishing to me after listening to them, because I just had made some comments on what Powell had recently talked about, and his recent comments on inflation going up just a little bit, according to him, like 2.4% instead of 2%. But this really was where they actually addressed, it was very interesting because they actually addressed CBDCs, which is central bank digital currencies. They talked about stable coins. They talked about Bitcoin. They talked about cryptocurrencies just in general. And for Powell, what's interesting is I haven't heard Powell like directly talk about Bitcoin until this stream they just did. Yeah, they're calling it the Bank of International Settlements event. And the question I have after listening to that for a while, but first I want to say props to the moderator. That woman was actually asking some great questions and was being very direct about them. And so props to her for really asking some good questions, even though they pretty much dodged the questions. But what my real question is for these other three individuals that were on this international bank settlements of central banks, whatever they want to call themselves. I think it's like they looked like really good I don't know. I consider the bingo player type thing going on, and I wonder to myself, do they think that we're fools? Because these individuals are obviously very intelligent. You have to be pretty intelligent to get to the positions that they're in. So either they are so high on their pedestal that they don't think there's going to be any criticism, or they genuinely think everybody else is a fool. There, I said it. If you agree with me, hit the like button. Get this video out to more people, because what I would just listen to was like, it sounded to me like, do you remember when the what's that guy's name he used to run GM, Lutz? When Lutz went out on CNBC and just was laughing his head off about Tesla. Do you remember that? Tesla's not going to be able to compete with GM. We're GM. How do you think Tesla could ever compete with us? That's what Powell reminded me of. And Powell, I think you're going to get something's going to come, and you're not going to sound so smart in the future. You're going to sound a lot like Bob Lutz did criticizing Tesla. That's what you're going to sound like in the future, in my personal opinion. But the audacity to say, well, we're the reserve currency. Well, we're the reserve currency. Dude, we can't be, there's no competition for us with these volatile cryptocurrencies. We're the reserve currency. We're stable. Like the audacity to consider yourself the safe place. I forget the exact way that he phrased it, but it was like very, very high on the pedestal. Like we don't have any competition. There's nothing to be able to compete with us here. We're the reserve currency. And as the reserve currency, we have plenty of time to make our adjustments in the way that we want to make our adjustments. This is literally the way that he addressed this. It wasn't like, yeah, it's kind of concerning that Bitcoin, some of our major companies in our S&P and our stock market have been dumping billions of dollars into Bitcoin because they're scared of all the dilution that we've done of the dollar over at the Fed. He didn't say it like that. I said it like that. What he says is, we're the reserve currency, and we provide stability across the world because we're the reserve currency. And trust us, we're good. We're fine. We have plenty of time to make our CBDC. And you know what? I don't even know if we're going to do that. We're talking with MIT, and we're not in any rush to do these CBDCs. Everything's fine and dandy. What? Like what? You just printed gold's entire market cap in a year and a quarter. You diluted the currency more than it's ever been diluted. And you're just sitting there like, oh, yeah, no problems here. No problems here at all at the Fed. We're the reserve currency and we can do what we want. And, people won't criticize our choices here at the Fed. No, they won't criticize us at the Fed. We make the best choices. When we're supposed to tighten the money supply, we increase the money supply here at the Fed. When we're making less stuff in our economy, we're going to inject a ton more cash into the system because we care. We care at the Fed. And I know what I'm doing here. It's like, what? I hate to laugh because it's such a serious thing here. I really hate to laugh because it's such a serious issue. But after listening to this, it's mind-boggling to me. And Powell, he doesn't understand. The thing that is so odd to me is that Powell himself doesn't even understand Bitcoin. The way he talks about it, he doesn't even understand what Bitcoin is. He doesn't add any fruitful conversation to the intricacies of Bitcoin. The fact that it's completely decentralized. When he addressed Bitcoin, what he actually said about Bitcoin was he sees no intrinsic value in that, but he relates it to gold. He actually said that, oh, well, Bitcoin isn't going to be, the way to transact and buy things. You need us, to do that. But Bitcoin is like gold in a way where it's, a speculative asset and people hold. It's like, no, I mean, kind of, but no, it's far more different than that. And it takes about 30 minutes to confirm a transaction on the blockchain in Bitcoin. And the reason it's actually not that, it doesn't take that long to move Bitcoin around. If you've played around with it and you've sent Bitcoin from wallet to wallet, it actually is about, I've had confirmations in a minute. It depends on how much you pay the system in Satoshis and how fast you want to move the Bitcoin around. But the interesting aspect about Bitcoin is it can't shut down for 3 hours like you did at the Fed. They can't just say, oh, we're shut down. No ACHs, no wires. It is what it is. Like you guys recently did at the Fed. That can't happen with Bitcoin, actually, because it's a decentralized group of miners that can move Bitcoin throughout the system worldwide. So it's a little bit different than gold, pal. And it also does have an intrinsic value in that network. That network is there for a reason. It's like saying, the labor of gold miners doesn't matter. It just is. They just mine gold. It's like, no, they're doing the labor for the gold because they find gold to be valuable. And then they sell their gold and they are willing to put a lot of labor in to get the gold out of the ground because we consider gold valuable. That's what Bitcoin is doing. So when you just write it off and you completely push it to the side, I think it shows that you're scared. It's kind of like the art of war in a way. Act big when you're actually small. Act small when you're actually big. That's Sun Tzu. That's textbook art of war. So what I'm seeing from Jerome Powell is the most interesting to me is in order to become the Fed chairman, you got to be pretty intelligent. You got to be a pretty sharp cat, So I don't underestimate Powell, but at the same time, he just has to think that everybody else is a fool or something. And the reason I want to keep doing these videos here on YouTube is because I want to spread real information out there. I want people to actually get some of the real rundown, or at least my opinion on it. What do I know? I'm a college dropout. I didn't even get my associate's degree. I dropped out with like 56 units done. I didn't even get any degree of any kind. So when he's talking about MIT and he's talking about all these things at the Fed, I'm not an economist, like Powell or like Yellen. I'm no economist, but I can tell you this much. If I was in charge of the Fed and I did everything the exact opposite of what they've done over the past year and a half, we'd be in a much better position right now, in my personal opinion. Like if you did literally the exact opposite of everything, you'd be in a much better position. Mainly that when you're making less stuff and you've shut down the economy and import exporting isn't going down, and you're not making anything. This is just simple economics. If you're making less stuff and less people are working in your economy and other economies around the world, you should be tightening your money supply. You should be tightening the monetary supply. But no, that's not what they did at the Fed. They injected a ton of money into our market. They injected a ton of money into our system, into our banks, into the central banks, into the commercial banks, into our stock market. The way that they did that is by just printing and printing and printing money. And what does that mean? We haven't seen nearly what the results are. Just because our gas now it's like $1 higher, if not more now, everything's going to go, it could be more across the board. But the sad part is that everybody's wages are remaining the same. So what you make every month stays the same, but the monetary supply, the currency that you're being paid with, is inflated to the moon. That is not the thing you want to the moon. This isn't Dogecoin. This isn't, your stocks you want tendies off of saying go to the moon. You don't want the dollar to be going to the moon. You don't want the supply rate of the dollar to be going to the moon. But it's too late. You already did it. And so after injecting over $10 trillion into our economy, after injecting it at the worst of times, when you should be tightening the amount of money out in the world, you inject it. Now is the time to be high on your pedestal and to act like there's no problem and cryptocurrencies are no threat. It's like, are you using the art of war? Are you using the art of war? If anybody in the live stream, I'm sure you guys know what the art of war is about. And I feel genuinely like he is acting small when he's big and big when he's small. I feel like they're acting big and mighty when they're actually extremely concerned. Because the reason they won't just implement a CBDC overnight, and the reason why Powell, this is just my opinion, by the way, everything that I say on this channel is my opinion. Disclaimer, have to say that real quick. Could be completely wrong, just my opinion for educational purposes, not to be taken as advice or fact. The real reason that Powell is discrediting crypto, and not only is he discrediting crypto, but he is also it sounded, I don't know if anybody, I'm sure a lot of us in this live stream know exactly what I'm talking about and watch this international settlements event. The reason why he's acting like crypto is no problem and he's putting the CBDC idea kind of on the shelf. He's like, yeah, we're working with some stuff with MIT. It is what it is, but it's not a rush. We're not in any rush. We're the reserve currency and we're not in a rush. I'm paraphrasing in a way, but that's pretty much what he said. I think that he's acting like that because if they did implement a CBDC, there would actually be some kind of ledger. There would be some kind of checks and balances. And if you have an infinite money printer, and let's be honest, nobody can tell me the amount of gold in the world to the exact ounce. Nobody can tell me the amount of dollars in the world. Much more so, nobody can tell me the amount of dollars in the world to the penny. Not even close. Nobody knows. Because it's just, there's so many ways to print it. The Fed can print it. The commercial banks can print it by giving out loans at their discretion. The money supply, nobody knows how many dollars are out there. And a CBDC would mean that there were some kind of checks and balances. It's like a CBDC to the central banks, in a sense, is like, remember when you had a substitute teacher or something and they would leave the room and everybody be able to do whatever they want in a way in the classroom? Or if they, just in general, a teacher left the classroom and you got all the kids in there and they can do whatever they want. They can, throw gum at a wall, or they can put the things in the ceiling. They can do whatever they want in this classroom when the teacher leaves. CBDCs is like that teacher. It's like they've been getting away with whatever they want at the Fed. They can print it whatever they want. They can do anything over there. A CBDC would be like putting a teacher in that classroom, and they're a bunch of infants, in a classroom. They don't want to be watched. They don't want to have checks and balances from some kind of ledger. They want to be able to do whatever they want at the Fed. And so why would Jerome Powell say, yeah, we're taking CBDCs very serious, this cryptocurrency thing, the idea that, Libra might come out with Facebook and all these big tech companies are trying to come out with their own stable coins, and everybody's really, adopting Bitcoin in a very rapid way. This is actually very scary to us. And, we really need to get a CBDC in play as soon as possible because we need some checks and balances after injecting gold's entire market cap and then some in a year and a quarter. That's what, if he was being honest, those are the kinds of things he would say, in my personal opinion. But he's not talking like that. He's not talking like that. He's acting like he's not scared at all. He's acting very pompous, very high on the pedestal. There's no problem, no concern with the dollar. And I don't buy it. I'm not buying it, pal. And I think all my fellow silver squirrels in here know what I'm talking about. A CBDC also, I agree with you. There's a comment in here. I'm looking at the comments right now. Where's all your silver stuff? You know what? I forgot to put my silver on the shelf. And by the way, a lot of people say, that's just leased silver. He's not, it's just for show. He doesn't actually own that silver. It is what it is. My lease time is out on my just kidding. But when it comes to the CBDC situation here with Jerome Powell, it is just fiat digital. So it really is no difference. It's no different to the dollar. A CBDC is no different than fiat currency. It's just fiat digital. If people think Bitcoin is fiat, okay, a CBDC is really fiat digital, like literally fiat digital, because they can just inject however many tokens they want. But here's the catch. Yes, it's fiat digital, but it's fiat digital with a lot more documentation. It's fiat digital with actual checks and balances on somewhat of a blockchain, somewhat of a ledger. Would you want that if you had an infinite money printer? If you've been taking unlimited cookies out of the cookie jar, do you want somebody watching over your cookie jar? No. You want to be eating unlimited cookies out of that cookie jar. You want your infinite printer to be printing. You want to be able to do whatever you want without any checks and balances. So a CBDC, although we all know it's just fiat digital anyway, so it doesn't matter. Either way, it doesn't matter. What they are concerned about, it should have been like this 10 years ago. Like at the forefront of blockchain should have been checks and balances on our government spending. But keep in mind also, the Fed is its own entity. It's not even part of the government. It's its own entity, which is like a whole nother crazy rant in its own right. But they don't want a CBDC overnight. And if they do, they have to what they want to do is they want to figure out how to add as many trapdoors as possible in a blockchain CBDC so that they can get away with the things they want to get away with. But then also what Chair Powell said when he talked about the CBDCs is that they obviously wouldn't be able to implement anything on a central bank digital currency, a CBDC, without Congress approval. So it's never going to get done is basically what he's saying. These bingo players over there, they couldn't even get the stimulus package through. It took them, what did it take them, a year to get it through? Like 6 months just to get the stimulus package through? Okay, so they're going to be the ones to approve a CBDC. Okay, so what Powell's saying is he goes, well, obviously we're not going to do anything without Congress's approval. If you haven't watched this whole thing, I'm pretty much just summarizing what they talked about for the silver community, for our community here of decentralized asset holders. That is extremely concerning to me because, I obviously think fiat is theft of the people's money, in my opinion. I've always thought that way. If you go through all my videos, my opinion has never changed. Although I think a CBDC would be better than having an infinite money printer with no checks and balances. They're both terrible. They're both, in my opinion, taking away from people invisibly. Because your wages are the same. So if you're making $4,000 a month, you're making $2,000, you're making $5,000, whatever you're making per month, it's staying the same for the most part on a statistical basis across the market. And at the same time, the money that you're being paid in, the currency that you're getting paid in, is being inflated through the roof. It's not fair. It's not fair at all. It's like we used to when we were, early humans, we'd barter in seashells and salt and stuff. And if you considered your seashells valuable as an early human, and we literally did this, like Neanderthals and humans, we used to trade in seashells and stuff. And then somebody just dropped a bunch of seashells on the beach right by you. And you're like, wait, no, I thought these were rare. Like we considered these money. Like, what do you mean you just dropped a bunch of seashells on the beach? What do you mean? Oh, I guess there's a lot of these. That's what they've been doing with our money supply when we were working so hard for that currency. They literally did that. So, excuse me, it is what it is. It is what it is. I just wanted to go live and address that. I mean, I was listening to this. This is a pretty good. I cut out this little tidbit here. If you want to listen to this.
Sorry, I'm dealing with different forms of address and cultural expectations. I know in America everyone uses titles. In Europe they don't. So apologies if I cause offense to anyone watching by addressing you.
This is a good little tidbit from the thing I wanted to comment on.
Are you essentially trying to beat them at their own game? To what degree do you see things like Bitcoin or Libra representing financial stability threats that you're trying to get ahead of?
First, I spent 9 years here trying to get people to call me Jay, so please.
He's directly talking about Facebook cool. and competing with everybody to try to act cool absolutely. Along the central banks.
Let me just take a step back and say that our work on CBDCs is not primarily motivated by the appearance on the scene of cryptocurrencies and stablecoins. It really is fundamentally, technology has made it possible for us to offer a new form of trusted money and that sovereign anchor that has been so important for economic development for a very long time. And we're looking carefully at whether to do that. So turning to your question, crypto assets, which we call them crypto assets, they're highly volatile, see Bitcoin, and therefore not really useful as a store of value, and they're not backed by anything. They're more of an asset for speculation. So they're also not particularly in use as a means of payment. It's more a speculative asset that's essentially a substitute for gold rather than for the dollar. And I think with crypto assets, the
directly
public
says
needs to
gold.
Understand the risks. The principal thing is there's the volatility. There's also the outsized energy requirement for mining.
So basically, he's like. He's trying to discredit cryptocurrency while at the same time crediting the dollar to being stable. And on the surface, it looks to be that way. It looks to be that way on the surface. But what it really is people are so afraid of the true volatility of the dollar, not of cryptocurrency. They're afraid of the true volatility, the actual smoke and mirrors to fade away from what is artificially propping up the dollar right now. That's what's really going on. They're afraid of the dollar, and that's why they are moving to Bitcoin. That's why Bitcoin's gone from $3,000 to over $50,000 in less than a year. It is money piling out of fiat currency, piling out of the dollar into a crazy internet money, of all things, right? It's like they are so afraid, whether you're for or against Bitcoin, people are so afraid of the dilution rate of the dollar and all of the printing that has been done that they would rather own this internet crazy money. You guys know I'm a bull on Bitcoin, but let's say that it's just internet crazy money. Regardless of how you feel about Bitcoin, big companies would rather buy Bitcoin right now. Institutional money is going into Bitcoin rather than being in the dollar. Michael Saylor, these guys, Raoul Paul, Elon Musk, these are all individuals that are proven geniuses. They are legitimately proven geniuses. They're not just, a government official. These are literal billionaires, proven billionaires. Chamath Palihapitiya, Elon Musk, Michael Saylor, these guys are billionaires for a reason. They're actual proven geniuses of our time. There's a reason why they are funneling money into Bitcoin, because they are afraid of the burn rate of the dollar. And what has the dollar done since its inception? The dollar has lost 99% of its value, 99% of its buying power since its inception. That's how much the dollar has lost. So looks pretty good, pretty strong for the dollar. And they say, the inflation rate only went up a little bit. But the way he downplays, the opponents of the dollar, and then props up the dollar like, yeah, well, people are going to transact in the dollar, and the Bitcoin, they're not going to transact. And they just see it as a crazy internet gold of things. It's not anything. But part of me thinks to myself, I hope that you're being honest, Powell. I don't think you are, but I hope that you're being honest, because that just shows how little you know. You're sounding a lot like, I'm telling you, look up these interviews with Bob Lutz. Look up Bob Lutz Tesla. It'll make you laugh for a whole day. He literally is just trashing on Tesla. Tesla will be nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing. Where's GM's market cap and where's Tesla's market cap right now, Mr. Lutz? They're pretty far apart, I think that these conversations that Powell is having right now, luckily you'll probably not be the chair anymore at this point, but in the future, people are going to look back on these videos and go, oh, wow, these didn't age well. Oh, wow, these didn't age well. in regards to his comments on Bitcoin, he says there's no intrinsic value to Bitcoin. I disagree. And I think that the intrinsic value is in the network. I think that there is a network in play. And I think that gold and Bitcoin, they are storages of wealth. You know, one is in the digital realm and one is in the physical realm. And I think that they're both a lot better than fiat currency. And the way that he downplays gold too is like, it's very interesting to me. It's like it's very obvious that he holds a bias, and these other individuals there, they hold a bias. Like it's like they're very intelligent people. It's like they gotta. It's just astonishing to me that they get away with saying the things that they say, and they are completely oblivious to the fact that all of the money supply is just astronomically diluted. It's something else to me. And if I can do anything with this YouTube channel and the presence and everything that has been growing here on YouTube, it's just to speak my mind, you know, and say what I really feel about these ideas here. Because I feel like this resonates with more people than myself. I feel like more people know exactly what I'm talking about. And in these comment sections, there's a lot of great feedback. I'm sure there's a lot of people that might not agree with me, but I want to basically put some real information out there. And information that is actually worth sharing. Not something that I just go, please, please, please smash the like button. Please, please, please share my content. You know, I want it to actually be fruitful so that this is information that we want to share, that we want to get out to more people. Because after listening to that for an hour, it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling to me, and I think that it's just a matter of time. And then meanwhile, our metals are staying flat and going kind of down, and our Bitcoin's pulling back a little bit. I mean, let's be honest, Bitcoin, it's ran quite strong, but it's pulling back from the all-time highs that it recently reached, and metals are falling down as well. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I have a feeling that eventually the smoke and mirrors will clear, and those who bought the things that they actually made a thought out thesis on and bought with conviction, I feel like we are going to be handsomely rewarded in the near future. I really do feel that way. And I got my money where my mouth is. You know, the most money that I've ever made in my life, and from talking to mentors and other people, I wanted to make this on the Monday motivation thing. I wanted to talk about conviction, and I might make that video after this one. But I wanted to go live specifically on this Fed meeting that recently happened, International Summit. When you buy something with conviction and you truly believe in the trade and you're in it for the long haul, that's where you can make some big money. And it's not about diversification. It's not about buying every stock on the S&P 500 or buying the index. To me, right now, I think the best thing you could do is make a defined thesis. My thesis is that the dollar is much more diluted underneath the under part of the surface of the dollar is extremely diluted. And on the surface, we're seeing a dollar index looking somewhat stable. But underneath it, I'm looking at the iceberg. We're only seeing the tip of the iceberg. Underneath it, I think there is a ton of instability and it is wildly diluted. And that's my thesis. And so what do? I want to park myself in decentralized assets. I want to get away from these central bankers, and I want to park my money in decentralized assets. I'm number 1 in silver. Number 2 is platinum and Bitcoin. I don't even say 2 and 3 anymore. It used to be 1, 2, 3, but Bitcoin, I want more Bitcoin. Because if they're going to go to a digital currency, I want to go into a digital currency that isn't them. That's what I'm doing personally. Because I don't really want them in charge. I don't like their comments. They're very pompous. The complete lack of humility from the Fed chair today. In my personal opinion, I would be talking about it. If I was him, I'd be like, I can't believe, cryptocurrency is almost $2 trillion on its market cap. Of course it's on my radar. I can't believe that Tesla put 1.5 billion into this Bitcoin. Of course, I want to have a meeting with Michael Saylor. I want to talk with all these guys that are, this guy put 5 billion into Bitcoin. Yeah, I got to talk with these tech leaders. We're going to have a meeting actually tomorrow. I got Tim Cook in there. I got Michael Saylor. I got Elon Musk, and I got to talk to all of them about this, about the future of our money, because they're obviously seeing something that I'm not seeing, because I don't think Bitcoin's anything. I'm talking about if I was, Fed Powell, the Fed Chair Powell, I would be honest and I'd say, yeah, it's wild to me. They're parking billions of dollars into this internet money. Yeah, that doesn't make what's going on with that, And yeah, we had to inject a lot of money in our economy, so I'm obviously very nervous about the possibility of hyperinflation. You know, he beats around the bush and he doesn't directly say the truth, and that's really the truth. It's like, yeah, I didn't expect, you know, Bitcoin to be $1 trillion market cap, and I'm sure he didn't either. And so take away from volatility, take away from swings. It's like volatility is nothing if this gets adopted as a currency. If Bitcoin actually gets adopted as a digital currency, the digital reserve currency, we're talking 100 trillion minimum. To put it in perspective, that's 100x from here. So it's not about the volatility, it's about as an insurance policy. Because if this actually does get adopted, you're talking to the moon. In my opinion, with Bitcoin, it's foolish to go all in on Bitcoin, and it's foolish to have none. It's equally foolish to have none. So I think both ends of the spectrum is foolish. Somewhere in the middle, or into the, you know, just as an insurance policy. I've always been that way on Bitcoin. You know, fortunately for me, it went up a lot since I made that statement. I talked about it being an insurance policy, and so I had some literally, because if it does get adopted, you're talking about it going up 10x, 20x, 100x. You know, if it does get adopted. If it doesn't get adopted, it could go down quite a bit. So it to me, it's like an insurance play. That's how I look at it with Bitcoin now. After hearing this and seeing this get more and more adopted, seeing, you know, Tesla going into it, seeing the adoption rate of Bitcoin, you know, Cash App letting you buy it, PayPal letting you buy it, and then mainly that Coinbase might IPO. You know, he's making these comments about cryptocurrency, not scared about it at all, when the market cap is like almost at 2 trillion, and the biggest broker house, the biggest exchange to buy cryptocurrency, is just about to IPO in your market, Jerome. Mr. Powell, the largest means to buy cryptocurrency, Coinbase, is looking to IPO in the very near future in your marketplace. And you're not nervous about cryptocurrency at all? Not even a little bit? You just put it in, it's no problem. Okay. We're talking about one of the hottest IPOs of all time coming out in the very near future, and that IPO just happens to be Coinbase, and you're not worried about crypto at all. These it's like, what? That's wild to me. That's wild to me. Just doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. But they're just my personal opinions. That's how I feel about it. Let's get to some comments in here. I wanted this to be a quick live stream, just do a quick one, and let's talk a little bit in the comments. That's where the real information is in these comment sections here. So let's talk a little bit, guys. I mean, am I making any sense to you guys? Because I have a feeling that we all think alike on this channel. You know, maybe I'm just off my rocker. Maybe I don't make any sense. You know, but for me personally, there's something very odd about that whole conversation. But props to the moderator. Props to the lady that was being the moderator. She did a very good job. She asked some really good questions, you know, and actually finally got him to address Bitcoin, you know, and actually say Bitcoin, actually bring up gold. You know, that was a good job that they did. Your hourglass is empty. If we get to 100 likes, I'll flip the hourglass. We get to I'm setting the bar real low. We get to 100 likes, I'll flip the hourglass another 30 minutes. See here. Yeah, it's shocking. It really, I mean, whether you're for or against Bitcoin, Devery Peterson says, you're very right about that, man. It's shocking if he is not alarmed about that one Bitcoin is worth 60K and rising. I mean, that's what I don't understand. It's like, oh yeah, it's just a volatile thing. It's nothing over there. It's $1 trillion. It's $1 trillion asset. Like, it's nothing. $1 trillion. It's not a couple million on Silk Road or something like it used to be. You know, this is a real serious thing. You know, $60,000 of Bitcoin, over 50,000 is insanity for Bitcoin. It's like, what it really is it's all of that money you printed. What did they do? Just like I posted this on my Instagram, that little meme What's this one? I'll show you guys. If you go to my Instagram at Rob Sultan on Instagram, I post some funny stuff there in regards to this kind of. But this was something I recently posted on my Instagram. Hang on, let me see if it'll focus for you. I don't know if it'll focus or not, but it basically it was like, okay, Billy, this is your stimulus check. You need to use it for essentials like food, rent, or, and then Billy's like, I'm going to go buy Bitcoin. It's a pretty funny meme. It's the truth. I feel like a lot of these $1,400 checks are going to be going to Bitcoin and going to precious metals and going to things a lot different than our economy. I think they're going to take this free money, and if I really do feel like we will see, on a statistical basis, mark my words, on a statistical basis, in my personal opinion, don't know if this will be true or not, I think on a statistical basis, we will see a spike of $1,400 deposits into Coinbase over this next week or two. I think there will be a spike of $1,400 deposits in Coinbase. That's my personal opinion on it. And what will that do? What's going to happen from that? And you're not concerned at all, Powell? Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. I don't understand that. Hey, you know what hypes me up? What hypes me up is that you guys are the ones saying like the video. That's what hypes me up. When it's genuine, that's what's awesome. There's no incentive, there's nothing like that. It's just when people genuinely want to help spread this channel and spread this information out there, that's what hypes me up to keep making these videos here on YouTube. That's what hypes me up to do these live streams. And the live streams, it's taken a lot. I'm normally very, you might be surprised, but I'm extremely introverted. That's like, I'm an introvert extrovert, I guess. I can be extroverted if I put myself in that position, but I choose normally to be introverted. So these live streams are kind of, it pushes me out of my comfort zone, if I'm being honest. And seeing like videos of me online and whatnot, it's new to me. So this was all, it's not like I've been a YouTuber my whole life or anything. When this all started, I'm like, man, I got a lot on my mind. I've got a lot on my mind, and I really want to talk about it. And I want to reach out to other people and be social with other people and talk about these, just the craziness that's going on today. So I started this YouTube in July of 2020, and for it to be where it is now is just crazy to me. Just crazy to me. So thank you so much for being here. And the fact that you guys are actually saying hit the like button instead of me saying it in the comments, that's rad. That's super cool. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you all for being here. It means a lot. And yeah, we broke over. And by the way, we broke over 15,000 subscribers. Oh, I'd say I'd flip out. We're already at 30 minutes. All right. We'll do another 30 minutes. You got it. We broke over 100. I should have put it at like 150. Maybe we get it to 150 on its own, but I'll do another 30 minutes. I appreciate you guys so much for being here. And thoughts on the simulation theory, kinetic. If this is actually, you know what, I want to talk about that right now because I missed another Monday motivation. So this will be the Monday motivation in a sense. I want to start doing these every Monday. I want to do a motivational video just for myself and for everybody. It's like not just for everybody in here, but also to hype me up because sometimes I need a bit of motivation myself. I'm not a guru or anything, but sometimes when you say it into existence, and this kind of goes into this, I think that evidence of a simulation is that there's in some way, at least from what I've experienced in my life, I think that there is somewhat of a probability realm. Rather than the law of attraction, rather than simulation theory, I think that there's a probability realm. So for me, it was like, what is the probability of something happening? And you know that saying, like if you miss all the shots you don't take? Well, if you sit at the half court line and you start throwing basketballs, your statistical likelihood of one of those basketballs going in the rim and actually swishing, it goes up. It's not zero anymore. If you never threw the basketball at half court, then your statistical likelihood of making the basket is 0. It's impossible. But if you just threw one basket, your statistical likelihood of actually making it from the half court line goes up. And you see all these trick shot channels on YouTube and whatnot. The more times you throw that basketball, the higher your statistical likelihood of making that basket becomes. And I think such is the way of life. And so that kind of goes to the simulation theory in a way, because it would just be numbers, right? If this was a simulation, it would just be numbers in a digital realm, you know? And so you would be everything that you want to do in your entire life. This is honestly, this changed. It was after reading The Secret. That was a great book, The Secret by Rhonda. And then also like The Power of Now, all these different things. It kind of led me in this way with my life where I consider things a probability realm. And if I make an action towards that, it sounds so simple. It sounds so simple, and it really does. But it means a lot when you're able to increase your statistical likelihood of whatever you want to happen. But you have to take some sort of step in that direction to increase that likelihood of making that basket. If you never throw the basketball, you're never going to increase your statistical likelihood of making that basket. And I think that goes across all borders in life. So the law of attraction isn't about just thinking about it. It's about visualizing it, thinking about it, but also making some sort of action to increase your statistical likelihood of that happening. Maybe that's a little bit too far-fetched. Maybe that's a off-course topic, but that really really is what changed my life, is when I started looking at things not like the law of attraction, but like a probability realm. And I don't know if I coined that term or not, but that's like what I've always considered it. Not like a simulation. Well, this does fall under simulation theory. But in my life, when I put the statistical likelihood of something happening, started chipping away at it, and, maybe I have a 1% likelihood of succeeding as an entrepreneur. Okay, well, I've made a couple good deals here. Now maybe I have a 3% likelihood of succeeding as an entrepreneur. Oh, wow, I've made another good deal. Maybe I have a 6% likelihood of succeeding as an entrepreneur. Here on YouTube, when I first started the channel, that's literally probability realm. So what did I do for literally exactly what we're in right now? For this video right now that we're doing. We're so far off course. I always get off course when I do these live streams, but we already kind of addressed everything with Powell. So if you don't want to watch anymore, if you're watching this, because I post these videos later on, if you don't want to watch anymore, feel free to click off the video. That's up to you. But I'll talk a little bit more about this a little bit before we sign out. We're doing another 30 minutes because the Silver Squirrels, you all dictate what I do in these live streams, and so we got over 100 likes. We hit over 100 likes. If you guys still want to like the video, would really appreciate it. But if you don't want to, this isn't going to be about Powell right now. So we pretty much talked about everything I wanted to talk about with Powell. With this YouTube channel, I was thinking about everything going on, all the money printing. This was at the beginning when the market crashed, when silver crashed and everything was crashing. And you got to remember, I had a lot of silver at that first crash, and I was able to buy and keep continuing to buy when it fell down. And we're talking silver went to 12. It was a really rough time in the business. It was just a rough time in general in my life. Everything was crashing. And luckily I had some liquid capital and I had bought a lot of silver with it. Looking back, I wish I bought like Tesla calls. I would have went all in on Tesla calls with a 2-year expiration. Then that would be a great play. But I went in on silver, so I still did pretty well. And I went in with a lot of conviction on silver. But at that time, I was thinking, I want to do this YouTube channel thing. I want to put some content out there because I want to talk with other like-minded people, and I just want to do it. And so what was the first thing I did? The law of attraction was thinking of the idea, but the probability realm is what I'm talking about. I don't know if I coined that term or wherever it came from. To me, just probability realm kind of struck me as the best way to phrase it. I looked up I literally Googled, what is Joe Rogan's setup? What is Joe Rogan's setup for YouTube? It was the Shure SB, whatever this mic is here. What is the platform to use for YouTube? It said OBS software. It's free software for streaming. I'm like, okay, download OBS, buy the microphone, buy the little ring light thing here, make a little set in my warehouse. And those were me adding to the statistical likelihood of me making videos on YouTube. So if my likelihood of making videos on YouTube was 0 prior to buying the equipment, after buying the equipment to add to the simulations theory or the law of attraction, I bought some equipment. And so now maybe I have a 2% likelihood of succeeding on YouTube, maybe a 3, 4, 5. Then you make your first video. Now your statistical likelihood of succeeding on YouTube might be 10%. You know, and it just continues like that. And so I hope that helps some people. I really do. I hope that helps some people, because I wish I knew that when I was like 16. When I was like 16 and I was like so caught up on what I was going to do with my life, that's something that really can change your entire perspective. To the 200-something people in here, if you start implementing that in your life, it sounds so simple, but you might come back to me in a few months and be like, dude, I had this idea and I put a couple steps towards that idea and it's actually happening now. And I'm excited to wake up in the morning. You know, I didn't even think this could happen. It's really something special when you figure out how to use that to your advantage. But that's my little rant on that. Somebody said, what do I think of the simulation theory? That's what I think about it. So I hope that can help in some way. Bitcoin, Eric says, Rob, Bitcoin is greater than Tesla, greater than silver. I don't know about Tesla right now. I know that Tesla's future is bright. I genuinely believe that Tesla will be bigger than Apple. And I'm going to clip that in the future. I genuinely believe that it will be bigger than Apple. So wherever Apple's market cap is, what is it, $2 trillion or something now? I think Tesla in the future will be bigger than Apple. Because the market that they're disrupting is multi-trillion-dollar markets. And the iPhone market and the software for the iPhone market, smartphones and computers and stuff, is way, way less of a market than the auto industry and the energy industry. So I think Tesla in the future will be much larger than Apple. But how long does that take? Is there going to be a market correction until then? I don't know. So my play is, how do I hold as much value and store my value like a 401k, but actually a safe one? You know, I want to buy things with conviction at this point in my life. If I make a 25% return, a 20% return a year, I'm very happy with that, because it's on a larger amount of money. So I don't know if I agree that that Bitcoin is better than Tesla and silver. I like Bitcoin and silver about the same, silver a bit more maybe. But I am very bullish on Bitcoin, especially with everything going on. I'm becoming just like I talked about the statistical likelihood. That's actually how it relates to Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin might have had a 0.5% likelihood of getting adopted like 10 years ago. And then Chamath got on board with Bitcoin. And then maybe it had a 3% likelihood of getting adopted. And then, you know, Coinbase started getting more widespread and more information came out about Bitcoin. So it got more and more likely that it was going to succeed, right? Now you get Cash App in there, you get PayPal in there, you get some name brands promoting or using Bitcoin on their platforms, or you can buy Bitcoin on their platforms. And then you see Tesla go into it. You see you got Michael Saylor buying all this Bitcoin. These are all increasing the statistical likelihood of Bitcoin succeeding. So that's why I've been opposed to like Cardano and all these different altcoins, because I don't see a real adoption. So the statistical likelihood of it getting, you know, implemented is not there. But on Bitcoin, I see nothing but the statistical likelihood of it going up and up and up and up and up, especially after Powell's comments recently. And after those comments, I think it just jumped another 5% statistical likelihood of getting adopted. So maybe it's at 30%. Maybe it's 70% it doesn't work out, 30% it does work out now. You know, but as it continues on this course, eventually it might get to 80%. It might get to 90% that it has a likelihood of getting adopted. And so I'm far more bullish on Bitcoin now than I was 6 months ago. And it's crazy to say that because it's gone up so much. But right now, at this present moment, I'm more bullish on Bitcoin than ever before. And I'm also more bullish on silver than I've ever been before. You know, we got to remember, silver went from 12 at the beginning of all of this when it really crashed hard, and it's already over 25. So it's not exactly like something that has been flat. It's actually been going up quite a bit. But I mean, especially for an asset, it was a top performing physical asset or commodity, you know, in 2020. The top performer. Bitcoin was the only thing that performed better than silver. So I think that happens again in 2021. I think silver and Bitcoin will be the top two again. What do I know about Tesla? I know it's very, very highly priced. And the whole market is overvalued. So I don't know. Ideally, I'd like the market to stay flat and slowly fizzle out. And in that time period, you start seeing a detachment. I mean, Bitcoin obviously detached, where you see Bitcoin go up when the market stays flat and goes down a bit. I want to see that detachment really happen between Bitcoin and precious metals going up and the dollar and the stock market going down. That's what's supposed to happen. In 2007, everything collapsed together. If you guys remember 2007, metals fell down with Bitcoin. I'm not with Bitcoin. Metals fell down with the stock market. I want to see a detachment this time. I don't want to see history repeat itself. I want to see the detachment happen and metals skyrocket with the market and the dollar going down. The difference between 2007 and now is 2007 was bad loans on houses. It was a housing bubble. Now we have a currency bubble. They didn't print over $10 trillion back in 2007. They did that now. That's the difference. And that's why I think that this crash would be a lot different than 2007's collapse. Because everybody says that to me. Oh, metals is going to fall with the market like it did in 2007. It's all going to fall together in unison. I disagree, because the monetary supply, the dollars were diluted. It wasn't bad loans on houses. It wasn't, that type of thing. It was the actual currency being extremely diluted. That's what happened here. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. And I think with the dilution rate of the currency and hyperinflation, I think that would lead to precious metals skyrocketing, namely silver, and platinum. I like platinum a lot. And Bitcoin going up. That's my take on it. That's what I'm feeling about. And that's why I'm putting the money where I'm putting it. But I can ramble a lot, guys, and I flipped over the timer, so I got another 30 minutes in here. I want to keep these live streams about an hour. I think an hour is about right to do them, because some people are watching these later on and they keep bugging me about making clips and whatnot. But what do you guys all think? Let's go through some comments in here. Let's go through some comments. Any thoughts on Amway? Amway, that's like a network marketing thing that failed, right? You're watching the dollar crash in real time. I mean, for all I know, it could happen right now, but the dollar index, what's crazy is it's holding over 90. I thought the dollar index right now, I thought silver right now would be over 50, and I thought gold would be well over like 2,500, 3,000 right now. I mean, but the dollar index is up 6 cents today, 91.86. I don't buy it. I think the most money is to be made is when you're a contrarian. And I'm going to be in this market, I'm going to be a contrarian. I'm not going to follow the status quo. I'm not going to believe what these central bankers are saying. I'm not going to believe Powell. I'm going to make my own thesis, and I'm going to study it myself. And then I'll make my own judgment. And my judgment is they're full of it. That's my judgment. They're way more scared of cryptocurrency than they lead on to be. They're scared of implementing a CBDC because it makes them have checks and balances, and they don't want checks and balances. They want to get away with whatever they've been getting away with. I don't think they want that kind of checks and balances. There would be, with a CBDC, they would have the ability, it'd be like Bitcoin, but you could just inject however many you want. Bitcoin is so great because it's the only deflationary asset available, where it goes at 21 million, it just gets harder and harder to mine it as you approach that 21 million figure. So it actually ends. But they want a digital currency where they can just say there's $10 million coins. There's going to be a lot. There's going to be trillions and trillions. I'm just going to say 10 million for a number here. They can add another 10 million to it, of whatever dollar coin is. Like, my dollar coin might be $500 per dollar coin, or whatever they want to say on the stable coin. But all the coins will be there right when they make it. It'll be a tokenized system where all the coins are just right there and they're done, and they can inject however many they want. Now, the thing that they don't want, this would be just like fiat digital, and they could still get away with digitally injecting the money, but they would have to show the ledger. It would show exactly how many dollar coins exist. If it was on a blockchain, they don't want that. They don't want that. They're realizing it now, I think. I think they're going, like, oh, we got to compete with Facebook and LibreCoin, and we got to compete with, Bitcoin. And, oh, wait, but then we'd have to actually have a teacher in the room, and we like, doing whatever we want in the classroom without a teacher. We don't want any oversight. We don't want any checks and balances. We don't want to. You know, so I think that's what Powell is saying, where he's going like, oh yeah, we're not in a rush, we're fine, we're the reserve currency, we're all of this. I think he's just really scared of both angles, having checks and balances of the CBDC and scared of cryptocurrency and scared of Libra coin from Facebook and all of these different things. Ironically enough, when Facebook was really getting criticized hard is when they were pushing Libra coin. And they were starting to do payments and stuff where you could message people money on Facebook. People really underestimate how powerful Facebook is. The way I look at Facebook is it is the largest country in the world by a landslide. What is it, 3 billion people on Facebook or more than that? It's like 3 billion. To put it in perspective, Facebook has at least an order of magnitude more users than the entire United States has people. So the amount of people in the Facebook ecosystem is 10x more than the population of the United States. So yeah, it's a United States-based company, but they have way more power than people think. So if they came out with a tokenized system, oh, you're not scared of that, Powell? That doesn't even faze you. Like, oh no, we're fine. We're the reserve currency. They're nothing. It's like, do you have any like foresight at all? Or is it just like you just act like a pompous guy at the present moment? Like, do you have any foresight? Because if you had any foresight, if you had any type of entrepreneurial aspect to you, you know, investor aspects where you think into the future, it's like, yeah, I'm scared of a company that has 10x the population of the United States as users trying to come out with their own tokenized system and documenting and making all of the paperwork to come out with their own tokenized system called Libra. Yeah, I'm very scared of that, actually. Yeah, Bitcoin went from 3,000 to 60,000. That's wild. I'm very scared of that, actually. That's wild. Yeah. It's like, that would be jumping out of my skin if I was in his position. Of course, I would never be in his position because I'm a college dropout. He's the exact opposite of what I want to be in this life. But that's how I feel with it. It's way more scary than the way he put it off to be. I think it is a lot more scary than that. Get to him. If I'm looking over to the right, I'm just going through these comments here. Crypto is also trackable. Yeah, well, I mean, it is. I mean, it's all on a ledger. It's all on a ledger. You know, it's a blockchain ledger. At least with Bitcoin, it's decentralized where there is no central body. It has miners around the world. It is a decentralized ledger. So yes, each transaction is on the ledger. Each wallet is on the ledger. Names aren't on the wallet. Social security numbers aren't on the wallet. Each wallet is on the ledger. It's a lot better. It's a lot better than a central bank digital currency, which now, I mean, if you were afraid of a central bank digital currency, or if you were like, okay, this is going to happen really soon, they're going to implement for all of the people that think they're going to implement a CBDC overnight, Powell just answered that question for you. So if there's actually a great point to make out of this video, Powell said, we're not going to be able to implement a CBDC. He said, obviously, I believe is what he said. Obviously, we're not going to be implementing a CBDC until Congress approval. You think Congress is going to be able to easily approve a CBDC? You really think that? It took them a year. It took them however long to figure out how to get $1,400 together and then to spend more than half of that on other stuff. Like, it took them a ridiculously long amount of time to just make a very simple decision to implement a digital currency, to flip the entire monetary system into being a CBDC. You think they're going to be able to push that through Congress? Yeah, I doubt it. Those bingo players can't get anything done. They can't. All they know how to do is like go, I got BINGO. Bingo! 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 That's about as much of their skills over there in Congress. So it's like that was the way that they could. That's how we know that CBDCs aren't going to happen like overnight, by him saying that today, or was it yesterday? Just recently said that. Postmaster, I appreciate the donation. He's saying, let me talk. I don't even know how to be honest with you, I'm a complete noob on live streaming. I don't even know how to bring in somebody on my live stream. But if you shoot me a DM on my Instagram, maybe we could set something up type in like I'm Postmaster on YouTube or something, and we could set something up. I know you brought this up last live stream, but we're getting to the end of this live stream, and I don't want to do like a 2-hour live stream. I got to start getting the one thing I want to get on is getting to bed early. I want to get to bed at like 10:30, 11 and be able to wake up at like 4 or 5 like I used to. I had the best days when I would wake up early in the morning, and I've been just completely off on my sleeping schedule. I appreciate that you want to be in the live stream. Just shoot me a DM on Instagram at Rob Sultan on Instagram. Shoot me a DM there. If you have already, just maybe send another one so you're on the top of my DMs on Instagram. I get back to all my DMs. It's taking me a while, and I apologize. It's been taking me a while to get back to the DMs. Some of the DMs that I'm getting are like a full essay of things like questions, and it's like if you got one question, I'm so happy to answer the question. But it's like some of the DMs, I promise that I get back to all of them, but they're just complete like a full essay. I have to skip over those ones and get back to the other ones that are just one question, so I can get through as many as possible. But I am getting back to all of my DMs. It's just taking me a little while. I think I have like 70 something left of my DMs. But if you have a question for me, shoot me a DM on Instagram. Follow me on Instagram at Rob Sultan on Instagram. I will get back to you eventually. Where's the bars? Where's the bars? I totally forgot. I was so like hyped up about what I just listened to. I was doing a bunch of shipping, a bunch of packaging, and I think we shipped out like 25 boxes today. And while I was doing that, I had my headphones in. And I got those new Apple headphones, by the way. Those over the ear headphones are pretty good. They're pretty good. I don't know if it's doing any damage to me or not because it's wireless or something. I'm always kind of hesitant about the wireless thing, but they work pretty well. I've had those in, and I listened to the full hour of the Fed speaking, and I got so hyped up about it that I just went over into this other room in the warehouse. I'm still at my warehouse, and I just started the live stream because it got me it just doesn't make any sense to me the way that they're talking. Robots. I hope not, blue-eyed Native American. I hope not. Yeah, you don't need to fill out paperwork to own Bitcoin. That's the interesting part about it. And you can have, I'm actually talking to a very notable CEO, ironically enough, tonight at 11 o'clock. I'm talking with the CEO of a big wallet company. I'm not going to talk too much about the details of it, but they've sent me a bunch of wallets to review and to learn about. And I've been playing with these hard wallets and the cold storage, and they're elegant. The vaults that they have in the vault, like there's vaults within the vaults, and there's all these different things with these hard wallets. It's extremely elegant, extremely elegant. But definitely going to be asking some questions to him tonight and learning more about the hard wallets. Powell is clueless or lying, or there is no third option. You know, I think it is that. I think it's the latter. I think that he just doesn't have an option. I feel like Powell just really doesn't have an option. That's really what it is. He's an animal like pushed into a corner that has no option. It's like there really is no option for him. Because if he implements a CBDC, it's going to take forever to get through anyway. Regardless if they have MIT helping it, whatever, they still have to go through Congress. If there was one thing to really take away from that, if there was one little tidbit to take away from that talk right there, it was that. Saying, oh yeah, of course we'll have to go through Congress. Now we know it's never happening. Like it's never getting done. Like that was actually, if you know how to read into the intricate details, that really, really postponed the idea of a CBDC to me. I think they takes years and years and years to happen now if they ever do a CBDC, because if it has to go through Congress, they have such a divided House of Representatives and Senate right now. Like they're not getting anything through. No way. In my personal opinion, at least. So if there was one thing to take away from that, it was that the CBDC thing. It's going to take a lot. It's going to be a lot harder to get through. Postmaster, if he says I want to say a few words, you can say. I mean, if you write a comment, I can definitely address it in the comments. No, I think you're probably right, Stussy. You're the one who said that. I just said that I agree with you. I think that you were right in your initial comment that you just wrote. I was just kind of going over what you said, actually. But I think that the third option is what you just said. I think that's what you think. You're right. Something tells me that he just has really no option. I agree with you. But the main thing is that I just don't think that they're like, obviously fiat, no matter what, is terrible. Like it's complete. It's blasphemy that it exists already. Like the fact that it even exists blows my mind. The fact that the fact that we even have fiat is what blows my mind. The fact that we have this system where they're allowed to just inject as much money at their will. We have this, the whole system is upside down already, you know? So I already think fiat is terrible, but it would be better. It's like, how do you polish a, what, there's no better way. I mean, it's just already terrible, but a CBDC would at least make them have more checks and balances. They could actually, with a CBDC, to my knowledge of a CBDC and being on a blockchain, they would actually, like right now, if I asked anybody, we have almost 200 people in here, right? If you can tell me how much dollars exist to the penny, tell me how many dollars exist to the penny in the world in circulation. Nobody could do it. But if they had the dollar on a blockchain, on a CBDC, there would be a number publicly that said, okay, 2 quadrillion. And that's actually a real number, by the way. I learned that recently. It's like, yeah, they're at the quadrillion stage. So not trillions. Trillions used to be a big number, but now we're at quadrillions. What happens after quadrillion? I don't know. It's like a bunch of children made up a monetary system. We're like, yeah, call it a quadrillion. Yeah, that's what we'll call it. We'll just keep printing it, and we'll call it a quadrillion now. A trillion isn't enough. We used to be in the billions. Then we used to be in the trillions. Now we're going to call it a quadrillion. It's like, sounds like a made up word, but it's an actual real word, and they're at the quadrillion stage. Mind-boggling to me. Mind-boggling to me. You know, Blue Eye, I would love to think that you were right about that, them buying silver. I just don't think that they're buying it. You know, I think they have gold. I think the central bank, I think that when they took all of the world's gold in 1971, I think they still have it. I don't think they got rid of that gold. When Nixon stole all the gold, I think that they still have it. So I think they have gold, but I don't think they have silver or platinum. And that's my bullish thesis on those two. I want to get into things that they don't have, because what they have, it seems like they're going to want to suppress that because they have an infinite money printer. And gold clogs their infinite money printer. And they don't want to clog the infinite money printer. They want no checks and balances. Gold was implemented and held in their vaults to have checks and balances. So they stole it all, so they have no checks and balances. That's what happened. So they would have to give up what they stole for gold to be, for me to be extremely bullish about gold. They'd have to give it up in some way, or sell it, or give it to the open market, or back the currency to gold. 152 likes. Yeah, I really think that they still have the gold. That's my personal take on it. I think that the thing is, Nixon had a very big dilemma in 1971. I used to always be like, oh, Nixon is the worst president ever. And I obviously don't like him very much, even though he's obviously not around. But he was faced with a very tough decision in 1971 because we were the reserve currency, because our currency was the gold standard. If you want to really know the history of the United States dollar and how the United States dollar became the reserve currency, it was because our money prior to 1971 was backed by gold and silver. I've had old gold notes, had old silver notes. I've made videos about it on my page on fiat currencies. If you just look up fiat currency on my channel, I've made a lot of videos about that. But I had old gold notes, and that was for a reason, because our money used to be back to the actual metal prior to 1971. They had the gold in the vault, and then the problem that they faced is they issued more notes than they had gold and silver. So the entire world was like, oh, wait, they're backing their money to gold? Yeah, let's trust those Americans. Yeah, they got their money back to gold. Yeah, we'll take your dollars, we'll make it the reserve currency. You got gold, right? Yeah, we got a bunch of it. Then after we won that and we became the reserve currency of the world, then in 1971 and a little bit prior to that, the other countries were like, wait a minute. How much notes have they printed? Do we really trust those Americans? Do they actually have the gold in their vaults? Do they really have it? I don't know. I don't know if we can trust them or not. And so they started asking for the gold out of the vault. they started wanting to redeem their dollars for gold like it was supposed to be. And what had happened is that was the first time we took too many cookies out of the cookie jar. You know, I always make jokes. They're bingo players. They take too much cookies out of the cookie jar. Like I like to joke about it, but it's very serious. They wanted the cookies out of our cookie jar. We're like, no, we don't have enough cookies. We gave them way too many IOU notes for our cookies. Oh no. Like, and so what did Nixon do? He had a problem. Either keep our cookies in the cookie jar, keep our gold, or give away our cookies, give them the gold. And because they had printed too much notes. And so they decided to keep all the cookies and steal it all. And they dropped the dollar off the gold standard. And it's mind-boggling to me that we've been able to stay the reserve currency for over 50 years since then. Mind-boggling. Ironically enough, exactly 50 years. And they say the 50 years is when things change. It's about 50 years. So fiat currency is exactly 50 years. So kind of wild. It's like, yeah, if we were in the simulation, they really hit the nail on the head with the 50-year thing. It's exactly 50 years. So something that was what was happening back in 71. So Nixon actually probably made, to be honest, in my personal opinion, I might have made the same decision. Give away the entire wealth of the U.S. and get fleeced for all the gold, or keep it and steal it all. Like, it's a tough decision to make because you want to stay the superpower. You want to stay the reserve currency. You can't just give away all the gold. And they had printed out too much notes, I believe, at the time. And so, I mean, he made a decision that I think most people would make to keep the U.S. economy being number one. That's what it's less than just, oh, Nixon's evil and he did all of this and that. He was, in my personal opinion, he was a terrible president. But that decision was something that I don't know if he had a choice. But long story short, I think they still have this gold that they took. That they never paid anybody back. They took all people's money, gave them notes of debt that were supposed to be back to gold of the entire world, and then never gave the gold back and just took all the gold and silver. Like, talk about a bait and switch. We're the ultimate bait and switch. Uncle Sam, we kill it at the bait and switch game. Like, there is nobody that does the bait and switch better than Uncle Sam. Like, crushes the bait and switch game, like, to the tune of trillions of dollars, like trillions and trillions. Ultimate bait and switch players. But I think they still have it. Long story short, I think they still have the gold. I don't think they have the silver. I don't think they have the platinum, but I think they have the gold. So the bull case for gold is, I mean, obviously it'll continue to go up because they've diluted the dollar so much. So as like a hedge against inflation, I think that gold is still a good place to park some money. But in regards to ROI, I think silver is far better due to its industrial case and the fact that they don't have the silver. They have the gold, they don't have the silver, and silver's needed in industry. So I like silver a lot more than gold, and I like platinum a lot more than gold. But with gold, a bull case for gold is if they decide to own up to everything that they've done. If the Fed finally, if Powell owned up to everything and said, you know what, we've messed up big time. We need to issue a bunch of bonds against our gold. They do something to back a currency to the gold. Maybe they, like, literally they could issue gold bonds, I think. I think they could, like, admit how much gold they have in the vaults. Admit how much gold they have in the vaults and use it towards some, maybe if they did a CBDC that was back to gold. There's some rumors that other countries are working on something like that. But if gold got back to a digital currency, then you would see gold prices just through the roof. So there is a bull case for gold. I think that would be the bull case. You are relying on the children to give away their cookies out of the cookie jar, though. So it's pretty tough bet. But if they did that, I think gold would skyrocket. Yeah, you know, Zilla's right. Zilla's totally right. I agree with you, man. I mean, at one point, everybody that was so anti-Bitcoin, I was very vocal about Bitcoin, like around 10,000, even less than 10,000. I was talking a lot about Bitcoin, especially with other coin dealers and stuff and people in the bullion world. And they looked at me like I was a fool. And I'm like, I think that you're looking at me thinking Bitcoin could be something down here below 10,000 in the same way that maybe their grandparents looked at them with a credit card. You mean to tell me that you're going to put this piece of plastic and there's going to be money on this piece of plastic here? No. You mean to tell me that the internet is actually a thing? What is the internet anyway? What's an email? You know? It's like great minds and great invention. Well, that's actually Albert Einstein. Great minds encounter vicious opposition from mediocre minds. Right? I think that holds true not only for people, but also for inventions. So if you have a lot of people that are against you, you're probably doing something right. If you have an invention that a lot of people think is crazy, you might be onto something. You might be onto something. At least a good starting place. So, but really, I really do relate Bitcoin to like a debit card or a credit card, because if you all, I know there's guys in the live feed that remember this, that when credit cards first came out, nobody bought it. No, wait, what do you mean a piece of plastic that's going to have money on it? That's no way. That's not possible. It's like, and now look what we got. If you went back 20 years, literally only 20 years, because 2007 is when the first iPhone came out. You go back 20 years to 2001 and you drop this. Go to some your grandparents' dinner table, go back in time just 20 years, not that long, only 20 years. And you go, hey, look, check this thing out with the 3 cameras on the back. Check that out, Grandma. What do you think of that? Like, what in the alien is that? Like, what alien saucer dropped this off? And why does it have a camera better than anything on the market for only $1,000? That's not possible. This is alien technology. Like, really, let's be honest here. And it's only been around really for like 10 years, especially with things like Instagram and whatnot. By the way, follow me on Instagram at Rob Sultan on Instagram. Shameless plug. But I mean, it's a piece of alien technology pretty much if you just go back 20 years. So I mean, Bitcoin right now, to most people, are going to look at it and be like, yeah, that makes no sense. How do you store money in the digital realm, digital ether of money? Like, that doesn't make any sense. It took me about I knew about Bitcoin from the first bull run over 20,000 to 20,000, and then it crashed, and then it just went off my radar again. I knew about it obviously when it was hyping the first run up, and then when it crashed, then I kind of took it off my radar. But over the last 2-3 years is when Bitcoin started really getting on my radar. And then when Chair Paul Participates started talking about it, that's when I really started looking at it. When he had a recent interview, not recent, but somewhat recent, I guess within the last year or 2 or 3 years, he had an interview on CNBC where he was talking about Bitcoin. And I'm like, what? I'm going to look a little bit deeper into that. And then about a year ago, it finally clicked for me. So it took me a while for it to click and to realize, wait, no. I think that there is intrinsic value here. I think Peter Schiff is wrong. I think there is intrinsic value to this. And I think it's past the point of no return now. So it's like all that stuff, it took me a while for it to click. The main thing that really hit the eureka moment, I've talked about this in the past with Bitcoin, it was when I realized that I had the question that I would ask, okay, what happens when 21 million is reached? I know they have all these miners and they're producing their labor to make these Bitcoin, just like a gold miner is producing labor to make their gold. These miners are there to make the Bitcoin. But what happens when all the Bitcoin are done at 21 million? So then they just shut down the mining equipment, and it's like then this makes no sense to me. That was like the problem, the nail going into the balloon, so to speak, with Bitcoin for me. But then when somebody told me, no, the miners are processing the transactions in the future, so they continue mining. They're just mining out of the wallets. So yeah, the whole 21 million is made, but then everybody that has the Bitcoin has to pay the miners to move the Bitcoin. So they continuously mine by being able to move the Bitcoin around. And that was when I was like, oh, that's brilliant. That's ingenious. Okay. That totally on board now. So that was the moment where I realized that Bitcoin was actually something fruitful. So it took me a while to be able to think, in bigger terms for Bitcoins. I was very skeptical, and I still am skeptical, but it makes a lot of sense to me now. So I think everybody, and I think it'll happen just like credit cards and debit cards did. I really agree with you, Jay. I really agree with you on that. But we are at an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 19 minutes into this live stream. Let me get a couple more comments done and let's call it a night, guys. If you haven't hit that like button, please do try to get me to 200 likes. I don't even know if I have there's the pillow. I got the pillow down here. Please help this video get up there on the like counter. If there's some fruitful information in here, if it helped you in some way, please share this content. If you want to share it on your social media, get more people to the word of mouth is really, say all 200 people in here told 5 of our friends about the channel. You get over 1,000 people new to the channel because of that. So word of mouth is really what matters the most. And if this information actually is valuable, that's what matters the most to me. So if you could hit that like button, would really appreciate it. It really does help the channel. Hey, Bite Hunter, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. Yo, Rob, silver is the moon. Like, do you mean that literally, or do you mean silver's going to the moon? If the moon's made out of silver, that'd be pretty wild. But I think you mean it's going to the moon. I mean, I'm on board. I'm definitely on board. Chet says, hey, Rob, I dig the streams. Well, I appreciate you being here, Chet. It means a lot to me, man. Thank you. YouTube looks better. You know, I actually figured out how to change the bit rate. I think I had to change my bit rate to like 4,500 or whatever. I'm still learning as I go. That's why I don't even know how to bring somebody into one of these live streams. I'm slowly learning, but hopefully the quality of the stream is better on this one. I hope it's better than the prior streams because I spent some time tinkering with the streaming software. Saying flip the half hour glass. I can't do another 30 minutes. I was planning to only do like a 30-minute live stream, and we ended up talking about all kinds of stuff on this live stream. But I appreciate it, man. It means a lot to me that you want me to stay live. Musk needs silver for Starlink. Yeah, he definitely does. All electronics are going to need silver. So, I mean, silver is really, I'm far less gold than I am silver. I believe a lot more in silver than gold. And it's hard for a precious metals dealer to say that, you know, but I call a spade a spade. It is what it is. And if there's one thing on my channel that I'm going to do is I'm always going to tell you the truth. What I genuinely feel, what I say might not, maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I'm going to tell you from my heart what I personally believe is the truth. I have to phrase it like that, just for the disclaimer purposes. But there's one thing on this channel. That's what I want. I want to do with this channel here. Neuralink is sketchy. It's pretty wild. I mean, I won't be number one on Neuralink, but after like maybe 50 people or 100 people or 1,000 people get it, and I can watch them and be like, did it actually work, this Neuralink thing? I'm going to be watching that pretty close. Silver is the moon. Silver is the moon. I like it. I like it. Honestly, silver is so ridiculous. The fact that silver is sitting at 25, it just makes you want to throw up. It just makes you want to throw up. It's like, you mean to tell me they've printed that many dollars and the dollar index is still sitting up there at 92 with Powell not worried at all right now? It's like, I'm not buying it. I don't believe you. Like, what is that from Anchorman or whatever? I don't believe you. Like that one moment where he puts it's like, no, I don't believe you. If you look up that meme, it's a funny meme. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. If you're just starting with silver, what is a good first investment strategy? You know, just getting a little bit and figuring out what it is, you know. Buy yourself a tester kit, one of those Vera scanners, and so you can buy it from a reputable place where you don't even need to test it. You know that their reputation is good, but if you plan on buying a lot, I'd recommend getting your own tester, one of those Vera scanners, or at least a magnet to do a little magnet test on silver. I should do a video on how to test silver. I should do a couple of videos on that. I think that'd be helpful. I've got so much stuff to do, guys. I've got so much stuff to do. I'm doing my best to put out as much content as I possibly can because I really love my YouTube channel. I really love you guys. I really appreciate you guys and helping my channel grow into the way it is. But I would start a little slow. Start out with like 10-ounce bars or 1-ounce coin. Might have to pay a big premium on that. Personally, I like 50s and 100s myself because I can actually get somewhat of a realistic premium on a generic 100-ounce. Now, if you want to get into the vintage thing, that's a whole nother world where you have to study collectibles and everything. But yeah, it's learning a little bit about it. You're already making the first step by watching these kind of videos. Watch other silver channels and learn more about silver. There's a lot of, if you look up how to get into silver, I'm sure there's 50 videos on that'll teach you a lot more than what I could say right now. Excuse me. Make merch. You know, I do. I got to do it in the future. I'm working on some stuff, Justin. I'm working on it. I got some things in the line I'm working on. But all right, guys, we're almost at an hour and 25 minutes now. I want to say thank you all so much for being part of another amazing live stream. I have a blast when I do these. I really appreciate it. I hope that there was some fruitful information here. If you haven't hit that like button, this is like the 5th time I've said it, so I know it's annoying, but we'd really appreciate it if you smash that like button. It really does help with the YouTube algorithm. So we'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button. If you want to follow me on Instagram, @RobSultan on Instagram, I post a lot of exclusive content there, and I do get back to my DMs eventually. If you have a question, shoot me a DM. I will get back to you eventually. And it will be me, not anybody else. I'm a small YouTuber, small Instagram as well. So @RobSultan on Instagram. If you want to be a subscriber on the channel, if you click that red subscribe and then all notifications after clicking that bell, it's totally free to do it, and you'll get notified of all the future videos on this channel. Would love to have you as a subscriber in the community. And again, it is completely free to do that. You just click the red subscribe down below, and what are you waiting for? Just click the red subscribe. All right. Enough of being a salesman. Thank you so much, everybody, for another great live stream. We just broke over 200 likes. Thank you, everybody, for hitting that like button. It really means a lot to me. Have a great rest of your evening and a great start of your week. I missed this week's Motivational Monday again, so I'll have to get it next week. But hopefully there was some of that in this video here, so I guess I didn't completely miss it. Thanks again. Signing out. See you guys at the next video.